te trato rejas.
You speak Spanish?
Cállate tu boca.
Gringa chiquitica.
Boca muy gorda.
Simplona.
Just imagine that the week ago you just saw Avengers Age of Ultron and you thought to yourself, oh, the summer movie season is here, folks. It's going to get bigger and better than ever. And then the biggest new release of the next weekend is that. Welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. Today we are taking a look at the 4 new releases of May 8, 2015. You're probably wondering, wait, I thought you said yesterday there's going to be 3 movies. Well, there was, until I looked at the chart again and I realized there was another movie I wanted to cover. So we'll save that for the last, because it's the last movie I wanted to cover. But before we get to any of those, though, we gotta talk about the biggest new release of the weekend. And I say biggest in quotation marks because, my God, Warner Brothers had a terrible 2015 when it came to comedy. You know, we talked about Get Hard a couple of weeks ago, and now we have their next brilliant comedy masterpiece, Hot Pursuit. Stop me if you've heard this, because this is such a groundbreaking, revolutionary story that has never been done before. The story follows Reese Witherspoon as a straight-laced police officer assigned to protect the capricious widow of a drug boss's lieutenant played by Sofia Vergara from corrupt cops and criminals who want her dead as they race through Texas to avoid detection. Brilliant, I know. It's never been done before. Pay no attention to stuff like 48 Hours or Bulletproof or, you know, all these other different comedies that have the same type of a storyline. It's the same goddamn movie, man. Except this is about as annoying and as obnoxious as you can get. Reese Witherspoon with this goddamn accent is just... It's bad. It's bad. It's really, really bad. And, you know, I mean, it's bad enough for her. This is somebody who was born in Louisiana. She talks about, when she won the Oscar for Walk the Line, she was talking about, you know, growing up in Tennessee, and then she has to play a Texan in this, and it sounds absolutely awful. That'd be bad enough, but Sofia Vergara, oh my God. The people who made this movie must hate her, because they made her the most obnoxious, the most annoying, and the loudest character I have ever heard in a movie like this, because she does nothing but scream at the top of her lungs and talk about, oh, my shoes, oh, my dress, oh, all this, all this. It's just like, you know, this woman can be funny. We have seen her in much better movies, and the crux of the jokes in this movie is nothing but her just being a loud, obnoxious Latina. I mean, that's all they really do with her in this, and this thing is such an abysmal disaster. This is on the level of The Bounty Hunter in terms of obnoxiousness, in terms of the unfunniness. I mean, this thing is so terrible. They do every single cliche you expect in a movie like this. It's bad when you have a scene where they have to hide away from these people that are trying to kill them, and, oh, look at what's around here. A deer costume. One of the lowest forms of comedy ever. If you have to rip stuff off from shit like, did you hear about the Morgans? Then you completely have missed it. You completely have fucked yourself into a... What am I trying to say here? You've completely fucked yourself. Let's just go with that. But, yeah, look, Reese Witherspoon and Sofia Vergara are much better than this. The director, Anne Fletcher, is much better than this. This is the director that gave us The Proposal. She's a good director. She's made a lot of movies that I have liked. The Guilt Trip, 27 Dresses. I'll even throw in Step Up. I mean, Step Up is not... I mean, the first Step Up is probably the worst one because it's kind of generic, but still has at least effort being put into it. There is no effort being put into this whatsoever. This is not written by a hack writer either. Dana Fox, you know, she's written some stuff I've liked. What Happens in Vegas was a surprisingly good film. She wrote How to Be Single, Isn't It Romantic, Cruella, The Lost City, The Wicked movie. She made the Ben and Kate, the show with Dakota Johnson on it, which was great, but got canned after 1 season. Like, these are not made by hacked people in general here. This is just a badly put together film it's a story that's been done to death before. We've seen the story done before so many times. We know the jokes that are going to come from this. They do nothing new or creative with it whatsoever. It's a lazy, sloppily put together film that you know was only put out there so that people that couldn't get into Avengers Age of Ultron could go see this instead. And even then, that didn't work out very well for them. But as much as I hate this movie, this might be the best of the comedies that we still have yet to get to from Warner Brothers and New Line this year. Because, like I said, they have a lot of bad movies this year, bad comedies in 2015. I mean, Get Hard was probably one of the worst ones easily, but we haven't even gotten to the bottom of the barrel yet. I mean, that probably is the bottom of the barrel, the Get Hard, but That's what I'm trying to say. It's the bottom of the barrel, but we're still going to get some bad stuff. We still have an Entourage movie that has yet to come out. We have a Vacation remake that had promising trailers, but of course failed miserably when you actually see the finished film. And we're probably going to get to some other bad ones too. But yeah, I mean, this one in particular is at the lowest of the worst comedies they put out this year. If I had to say that, then you know it's been a bad year for comedies from Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema. I mean, this one is just, oh, what a mess. What a fucking mess, man. So anyway, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which I don't know too much about. I haven't seen it, but it looks like a goofy comedy with Jack Black and James Marsden. James Marsden looking for some reason like Chris Pratt. The D Train. Let's see what this is all about.
That's in the past. Are you just feeling a little bit of a distance? Maybe we should talk about it.
You got him to come?
What?
Is he going to come to the reunion?
Well, that certainly came out of nowhere. What the hell was that? Like I said, I haven't seen this movie, so I can't really say what that is associating with. But yeah, that, no kidding. When I watched that trailer for the first time, I was taken back. It's just like, is this a comedy where Jack Black and James Marsden are playing a gay couple? I mean, that's what it looks like, but you couldn't tell that from the premise of this, but Dan Landsman, played by Jack Black, who was called the D Train in high school, is the self-proclaimed chairman of his Pittsburgh High School Alumni Committee. So Dan has this idea of convincing Oliver Lawless, played by James Marsden, the most popular guy in his graduating class and now a TV commercial celebrity, to return, thinking that this will make people want to attend. But yeah, I know nothing about this movie. In fact, honestly, the only thing I knew about this film was that I saw a DVD version of it. I think it was at a Best Buy when it was coming out, and didn't look interesting to me. But I mean, I don't know. I have know nothing about this movie in general. I don't know if it's anything that great. The reviews for it are kind of mixed. It's at 55% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's also 55 on Metacritic. And the fact that Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic both agree on this in general gives me kind of an indication that maybe they're kind of right on here. Maybe there is some stuff in here that does kind of work, but then it's not really something that a lot of people really talk about per se. Mike White is also one of the producers on this. Of course, Mike White is now known for The White Lotus, and he wrote Migration, Despicable Me 3. It's directed by Jared Paul and Andrew Mogul, somebody I thought I knew, because I thought these were the guys that wrote Neighbors, but that's not the case. You also got Catherine Hahn, Jeffrey Tambor in here, Kyle Bornheimer, Dermot Mulroney playing himself. I don't know, man. I mean, like I said, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't really say if it's any good or not, but I mean, if it's not really getting a whole lot of attention overall, if IFC Films is the one that's putting it out, probably isn't anything that worth it in the long run, unless it's a really good comedy or something else. But like I said, I couldn't even figure out what that was from the trailers I saw online. Like, I don't know. I mean, it could be something, but it's probably not something I'm going to watch anytime soon. But that's all I got to say about that one. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, which I have seen, and it actually is a very good movie. One of Arnold Schwarzenegger's more underrated movies. In fact, probably his most underrated movie, because I don't think a lot of people even knew this one even existed. This is Maggie, and Back to the Future Part 3, he goes like, "Maggie, fetch some water, we got a hurt man here." Well, in this case, it's a hurt woman, but it's his daughter. Yeah, this is a surprisingly really good Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that I think a lot of people really don't know about. And it's honestly the best Arnold Schwarzenegger movie you'll see this year, because the next one will be Terminator Genisys, but that really isn't saying a whole lot. But after a couple weeks seeking out his teenage daughter, Maggie, played by Abigail Breslin, Wade, played by Schwarzenegger, finds himself in the quarantine wing of a hospital. Maggie has been infected by a lethal outbreak that transforms the victim into a zombie. Wade's friend, Dr. Vern Kaplan, releases Maggie to spend her last days with Wade and her family. Her stepmother, Caroline, asks Wade to take the little kids to her sister's house to keep them safe, while Maggie is slowly transformed. Wade stays with her, protecting her, but Dr. Vern warns him that the moment is coming closer and closer where he must make an ultimate decision. And it works mostly because it's Arnold Schwarzenegger in a role that you're really not expecting him to be in, a much more serious role, showing his abilities as a dramatic actor, and really giving one of his best performances ever. I mean, this is a film that is just so well done. and so just works on so many levels because Schwarzenegger is game here, and he's not playing around here. He's given this with as much of a dramatic performance that it needs to play, and he's not going over the top with it. It's a well-done performance, coinciding with another great performance by Abigail Breslin, who really plays the part very well here. You got Jolie Richardson playing his wife. I mean, there's just a lot of intriguing ideas in here. It's a relatively short movie, too. It's only about an hour and a half, but, I mean, it's a movie that does keep you on the edge of your seat and makes you wonder, you know, how this is going to turn out at the end. Like, because you know that moment's going to come where he has to make the choice to kill, is to basically shoot. He thinks he's going to essentially just go ahead and kill her, or kill his daughter, and that's a tough thing to do. But, you know, there's a whole thing where it's just like, you know, it's just an incredible movie overall. I mean, I was really surprised at how much I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. This is directed by Henry Hobson, who I don't think has made anything else since then. He's been mostly a graphic designer for title sequences for a number of different movies. He did the one for Snow White and the Huntsman, Sherlock Holmes, The Lone Ranger. He did a lot of work on The Walking Dead, so it kind of makes sense that he's involved in this one here. But more recently, he had done the visual stuff for the 87th Annual Academy Awards. And so far, this is the only directorial effort that I can see here. It's a really great directorial effort overall. It's a movie that just works because that dreary look of the film really plays it very well here. It's one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's best movies, and one you have probably never seen before, but I highly recommend checking it out, because it is definitely one of his strongest movies overall, and shows him not just playing the typical action hero in general. He's given a serious dramatic performance, and I think it just works very well to a T here. It's kind of a shame that he doesn't really do much of this anymore. Like, he doesn't do these more dramatic roles anymore, but hey, people want to see him as the big action star. But I mean, I want to see him as the big action star too, but it's cool to see him do something different here. But yeah, it's definitely one worth checking out. How many times can I say "but" in this entire review? In fact, the whole show I probably said "but." Okay, I'm done. Anyway, check out Arnold Schwarzenegger and Maggie. It's definitely worth it. So let's go ahead and move on to that last movie I added in here, because I didn't notice it until now. A couple years ago, we had Being Elmo, about the documentary about Kevin Clash, but we now have a new documentary with the guy who plays Big Bird, Carol Spinney. This is I Am Big Bird, the Carol Spinney story.
My name is Carol Spinney.
Oh, come on now, Oscar.
I like being miserable. That makes me happy.
It does.
But I don't like being happy, so that makes me miserable.
Today, ladies and gentlemen, I proclaim this Big Bird Day in Hollywood.
So just like the Being Elmo documentary, this is about, of course, the life of Carol Spinney. And, you know, Frank Oz turned down an offer to play Big Bird back in the day, but you probably didn't know that until a last-minute change of heart by NASA. Big Bird was supposed to go into space aboard the Challenger. Or you may know that the Oscar the Grouch got his voice from a cantankerous cabbie, but you'd be surprised to learn that the fire in his trash can almost led to Carol's untimely demise. Carol's stories are the stuff of legends. He's been a constant presence in our lives for over 40 years, his path weaving through American history like that of Forrest Gump. His time inside the Big Bird costume has taught him about the world and about himself. I Am Big Bird will peel away the incidents in Carol's life that inspired his creations of characters that influence generations of children, and as the yellow fellows give way to gray hair, it is not the man, not the puppet, who will steal your heart. Of course, this is a thing written by the company that put this out, but yeah, this is a pretty solid documentary overall, and it's very intriguing to watch, because just like the Kevin Clash documentary from a few years ago, this is a documentary that has a lot of intriguing things that you really don't think about when you think of the character of this guy who played Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch on Sesame Street. I mean, this guy has had a lot of a lot of these incredible stories to tell, and the fact that he was able to incorporate that throughout his career in general, I mean, that's something that's really impressive overall. He passed away not too long after this documentary came out. About 4 years later, he passed away. He was 85 years old when he died, so he lived a good, long life in general. And actually, the same year he started this movie, he was diagnosed with dystonia, a neurological movement disorder that causes muscle contractions. And yeah, it's just a very intriguing film overall to see the story about this guy in general. I kind of put the parallels to this and the Being Elmo documentary to the Disney documentaries Waking Sleeping Beauty and Howard, because you can watch both of those together as a double feature and really feel like you're getting a lot of investment from the Sesame Street aspect with that, just like you are with the Disney animated film with Waking Sleeping Beauty and Howard. It's a really good documentary, and one I don't think gets as much attention overall, but it's a fascinating watch overall. It's one I'd highly recommend checking out if you haven't seen it. I Am Big Bird, the Carol Spinney story. Watch that, and also watch the Being Elmo documentary too. They're both really fascinating documentaries about the people behind some of your favorite characters when you grew up with. So with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies, and hey, summer's back next time around. We'll take a look at two of the big summer releases, Mad Max Fury Road, but also before that, the movie that kind of surprised everybody by surpassing Mad Max Fury Road, because that was a highly anticipated movie, but nobody could have predicted Pitch Perfect 2 would not only become a massive hit, but become kind of this generation's Austin Powers or The Naked Gun. We'll touch on that when we talk about both of those movies, and we'll also talk about the newest film from the director of Paranormal Activity, Area 51. Should be intriguing, but we'll see what happens on the next episode. That'll be tomorrow as well. So, with all that said, though, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. With all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.